one of those days I am just going to have to beg you to bear with me, because this will be the third time that I have filmed this video. The first time it was nothing but a mess between the wind and everything. I was trying to come to you from our garden. I was not able to film from the garden because of the dog and the wind and the cars and all the nonsense. And then I went and filmed it again and there was no sound. So today is pretty much a video coming to you out of sheer determination, because I was ready to quit. I really was just like, no video this week. But I did promise you guys a cover reveal for the Sacred Renewal book that's coming out in July. So here I am, fulfilling my promises. It's such a shame too, because it is beautiful outside and I would love to film out there. The lighting is better. You don't have to worry about all these reflections on my glasses, but we're just going to do with what we have today. Sacred Renewal, Embracing the Biblical Design for Self-Care is my new book, and I am so excited about it. It is one of those books that I've had in my heart for a long time, but I have not worked on it, and it just kind of came together over the last couple of months. Several years ago, I had wanted to start a podcast for Messianic youth, children, and young singles like I was, and it was going to be called Spirit, Fire, Life, and then we had the Spark Squad, and I can't remember what the other one was that we called it, but I really quickly found out that doing a podcast was not going to be something that was going to fill into my life, because that is a lot of commitment, a lot of time commitment, just like a YouTube channel is a lot of time commitment. So I really figured out quickly I wasn't going to be able to do that right now. But what ended up happening is I realized as I was working on Sacred Renewal that it doesn't have to be a podcast, it can be a series of books. And so I'm really excited about it, because now I have ideas for all those podcast ideas that I had. I now have ideas for books, or smaller books, and I really wanted Sacred Self-Care to be kind of a conversational look at what self-care is according to scripture, because I feel like there are so many books out there, so many resources out there, but a lot of it is not written from a conversational, or this is what happened to me and this is why, what I've learned kind of thing. And so Sacred Self-Care is really my journey towards understanding self-care as it applied to me, because coming from a background of emotional and psychological verbal abuse, you kind of learn how to be what everyone else needs you to be. You learn how to be invisible, you learn how to mirror, you learn how to gauge the energy in the room and to act appropriately. And I think sometimes, or not even sometimes, most of the time, people in these situations, we end up having this lack of self-awareness, lack of self as being important. And coming from a medical field and going through COVID as an activity director, we talked a lot about self-care, because especially in the medical field, you're constantly pouring into other people and you're constantly giving of yourself and giving of your energy, your mental bandwidth and all of that into others to help them get well and help them stay well and them stay motivated. And a lot of times when you're in a position like that of service, you often forget and lose sight of yourself and your needs, because you're so busy trying to make things better for others. And I know for me, a service job like that is perfect for me, because I do have a deep well of empathy and I do have a deep care for people. And that is something that has grown out of my past, that I never wanted anyone to feel badly about themselves or poorly about themselves or negatively in any kind of way. When they interacted with me, I always wanted people to have a good experience, because I wanted people to feel good when they thought about me. Like, that's a self-preservation thing. Absolutely, I'm well aware of that you just don't want people to feel any negative way towards you. But it can become a strength. Those things from our past, from what we've survived and what we've overcome, those things become strengths. And they especially become superpowers when we learn how to use them properly. And I'm going to turn this air conditioner off, because that's very loud, and that's going to be one more thing that's going to interrupt my flow, and then I'm going to be mad. I'm determined to make this video today. This is going to be the last take. I don't care about anything that goes wrong. We're going to do it. So anyways, so that's kind of where Sacred Renewal came from. I just wanted to talk about my experience and my journey. I was kind of taking stock of the growth that has happened in my life since I met my husband, and the growth that has happened through all of our struggles, and everything that I have been learning about myself as we have been growing as a couple over the last couple of years. And it really was, number one, I was learning to understand boundaries in a way that was completely different, because it was relevant in my life. It wasn't just this hokey thing that people talk about and whatever. Like, it was relevant and I could apply it. And the same thing for self-care, with needing to take care of myself first in order to be able to take care of others, and really starting to understand that concept, that my care of myself, my love of myself, my self-talk, the way that I think of myself, the way I view myself in the world, all of those things encompass a good life. And if I'm off in any of those areas, I'm going to find myself people pleasing, I'm going to find myself stressed, I'm going to burn out, I'm going to start doing my workaholic thing that I do to overcompensate. Everything that I can do to make sure that nobody sees me in a bad light and a negative light. So self-care kind of, for me, became that thing that kind of halts all of that and keeps it in a healthy perspective. Yes, am I prone to, just like all of us, waffling or readjusting, relearning, failing, and having to regroup? Yes, absolutely, all those things. But I still wanted to share that aspect of my journey. And it is something different. I was kind of afraid how I was going to be received on this project, mainly on this channel, mainly on my author platform, because my author platform has always been about writing life, day in the life vlogs, my writing journey, all kind of building towards book releases, specifically fiction and poetry. Last year with the author platform roadmap, that kind of put me into a new area, because now I'm starting to integrate my professional author coaching and things like that into my platform, very slowly and surely. But this is different, and I've never kept my faith a secret on my channel, but at the same time, I'm well aware that with this being a different genre, it reaches a different audience. And so I've been really pondering, how do I handle this? Do I create an entirely different platform where I am promoting my work and my nonfiction and more religiously focused books on an ST Ariaga platform, or do I integrate it into my current platform? And honestly, I kind of decided just to integrate it into this platform, because writing nonfiction it's a little bit easier for me because it's very factual. So if I can take facts and make connections, that type of writing I'm going to write faster. But I'm a little bit too lazy, and I realize not really that concerned, because ST Ariaga, Shantasia, like, it still connects, and it's not like the ST Ariaga books are going to overtake this channel. Now, if it comes down to it later on, yes, I would be interested in, you know, splitting it and making it two separate platforms so that I'm not alienating my audience. But for now, I just kind of decided just to leave it the way it is. People are going to watch what they want to watch and what is interesting to them. And I'm not really interested in being accepted, I guess. I guess I'm just not really all that interested in what people would think about me having a strong religious background anymore. Like there may have been a time at one point where I would have maybe felt that way. But considering that my faith walk is the basis and foundation for everything I do, even in my fiction, because the Shaloma is Hebrew, you know, Hebrew roots are, I guess, biblical fantasy. So, you know, it's not too far away, but I just really realized I wasn't too concerned about that at this point. Maybe later I will be, but right now I really am not. I'm more interested in what this channel has always been, which is following my writing journey, and writing under another pen name is part of my writing journey. So that being said, that was a really long ramble about nothing, but thanks for listening to it. So anyways, so that was kind of the foundation for the idea of the book, and it just kind of grew from there. And really, it, like I said, I wanted to keep it short and conversational. I didn't want it to be an incredibly long book, and it's not. I ended up choosing to do it in a smaller format, like 5.5, more like a trade paperback size, just to keep it tiny, because it's really just about giving food for thought and then asking questions so that when you're reading it, you can assess yourself for yourself. It's not so much about me telling you this is how it is, this is how it should be. It's more about this is what I learned, and if you're interested, this is how maybe you can come up with a plan for implementing healthy self-care and boundaries in your life. So I don't know, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a preacher. I just really wanted to have a little bit of say in that space, because I think self-care and self-love are two very misunderstood concepts in the Christian / Hebrew roots / Messianic world. I know for me, I had a very bad taste in my mouth. I always felt that self-care and self-love were selfish and sinful, and were not relevant for someone who is wanting to walk a good life. And that actually is the lie. That is the opposite of the truth. The truth is that in order to love and care for and give of ourselves, we need to have really good self-care and self-love and self-image in order to love genuinely and not love from our wounded places. Because the wounded places, when we love from those places, it's not so much about others and giving of ourselves, it's more about filling needs for ourselves. And that's why we experience burnout and all of that. It's the way that we do when we try to love from those hurts and those wounded places. We're trying to fill something in ourselves with our expression of generosity and giving in the world, and unfortunately it's just going to make those wounds worse as we just find ourselves stuck in patterns and situations. And that was what I learned. That was what I've learned over the last several years moving to Texas. That's what I learned in the events of what happened in my last job that I had. And at the end of the day, it is very true that at the end of the day, the only person who can take care of us is us. Like, I am the only person that is responsible to make sure that my needs are being met and to make sure that I am caring for myself. Yes, it is also my husband's job to partner with me, and it is his job to maybe speak into my life when he notices that I'm going a little, too far to the right or too far to the left or whatever. But it's not his job to meet all of my needs, and it is unfair to expect the people in our lives to do that for us. And that was, that's a hard pill to swallow, that we are actually responsible for our own care of our own selves. And as empathetic people and people that have come from abuse, that's a hard concept to understand, because in our world, how we act, how we look, what we are, what we do, how we breathe, every aspect of ourselves is viewed from the lens of approval from others, acceptance from others. And when I started realizing that, hey, like, the reason I'm struggling in my life right now is because what's going on is not lining up at all with my core beliefs. It's just the choices and the things that I'm allowing into my life, or the people that I'm allowing into my life, and the situations that are coming from this, they are not out of my control. Because if I had made a different decision here, this would not have happened. Or if I had chosen to stand up for myself here, then maybe this situation wouldn't have happened. So that's just a really long ramble. I take from it what you will. I mean, at this point, it's just me yapping into a camera. But anyway, so what y'all really came here for is for the cover reveal of Sacred Renewal, and this is, I think, the third or fourth version of the cover. And when I saw this one, it was, yes, this is it. So without further ramblings, here is the cover for Sacred Renewal, embracing the biblical design for self-care. And I'm also working on another book kind of tied to this one. I don't know when it's going to come out. In my ambition, I was like, oh, I could release both of these in July at the same time, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to do that. I'm going to try. But I was thinking about like Messianic and Hebrew roots youth, and how they also could use something that is conversational and relevant to the time. And what would I have wanted someone to tell me at that age about boundaries and growing up and detaching from your parents, but honoring your parents even as you're learning and growing under their roof and things like that. And so I'm kind of writing this for my nieces and my nephews, because it's something that I wish that I had instilled in me from a faith-based perspective when I was very young. I feel like, yes, my journey is my journey, and I am who I am because of the lessons that I learned and the growth that I have made in my life from the lessons. But I also sometimes wish that I'd had a little bit of a foundation there. So I'm working on, it's called Rooted in Real, Self-Care and Boundaries for Messianic Youth. And I'm just kind of excited to see how that's going to go, and I'll be talking about that probably a little bit more. But for now, here is some video of my beautiful garden. It is spring here in Texas now, and I took a little bit of B-roll of the garden so you can see where it's at. I planted for the first time from seed for most of the garden, so it's coming up slowly because our weather has been like 90 degrees one day and 32 the next, and it's just been crazy. I know the weather's been crazy everywhere. So thank you so much for continuing to come to my channel. I know right now it's kind of chaotic. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going with it. I do love YouTube more than anything in the world, and but being back on camera is, not not as easy as I thought it was going to be, and I am thankful that you have stuck around long enough. If you have stuck around through this whole video, I commend you, because this has been like probably 20 minutes of just me rambling. But anyway, so thank you for dropping by. If you want to keep up with me as we're going forward on this project and all the many more that are coming along, including my new fairy tale retelling that I'm going to be starting to work on next, please make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell so that you get notified when a new video is up. Also, make sure to check me out on Facebook and on Instagram. Usually the best places to get news from me will be here on this channel, on Facebook, and on my website, www.shantasia.com. So anyways, that's it for me today. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.